Trex composite decking is rot and splinter resistant. Wood is not. Trex is insect proof. Wood is not. Trex eliminates time-consuming maintenance. Wood does not. Trex comes with a 25-year fade and stain warranty. Wood does not. So here's the question. Why would you ever choose to build with wood? Make sure your next deck is built with Trex.
Here we are. We're back in Better Than Ever. Mike and Mike, presented by Progressive Insurance. Our guest on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line.
You okay?
I'm good. The dulcet tones that you hear now are those of our friend Bruce Bowen, who here to talk a little basketball and a whole lot more. How are you, Brucey?
Well, I was better if I had my music.
You're looking for your theme song.
Come on now.
I mean, I'm sorry. I've been away a little bit. I
don't want to hear excuses.
He's giving one right now.
Oh! Come on now. Y'all know what that make you do. Get down with my girlfriend. That ain't right. Ha! Oh!
You know, I'm angry at myself for almost forgetting this. Because it is as good as it gets.
It's as good as it gets for our entrance songs.
How are you, Bruce?
Oh, man, come on, baby. It's the NBA Finals. I'm here with you guys. I mean, well, one of you guys who haven't been here in a while. It's a beautiful day, Granny. It's good to see you, my man.
It is good to be seen and good to see you always. Your thoughts on –
all right.
My general feeling at this point in the NBA Finals is one mostly of deflation, to be honest with you.
Confusion.
We spent a year looking forward to this and building it up and hoping that it would give us something really spectacular. And if it goes the way it appears, I give the Cavaliers a lot of credit for rising up and just playing a magnificent game on Friday. They had make shots that were just ridiculous. JR was making crazy shots that he didn't do any of in the previous games. And LeBron and Kyrie obviously are spectacular. But the thing has, contrary to what I believed and what I hoped, gone the way everyone else said it was going to go, which is it's really been a one-sided affair in Golden State's direction, and I find that deflating and bad. It's a bad thing for the NBA. I don't celebrate the dominance because I think that it is more a sign about a problem with competitive balance than it is anything else.
Okay, well, this is my thoughts to it as well. Yes, you have Kevin Durant who made a decision, and that's fine. But what I like is that now this encourages better play. If you want to compete with a lot of teams, you have to bring it not just from a standpoint of you have one defensive guy on the floor. I think we're getting back to another style of basketball because of having such dominance with other teams. I don't think Golden State is the only team that has ever done anything like this. I mean, you look at the Lakers and the Celtics in the 80s. They were loaded, and no one else could compete with those groups. But you always have that moment where, if this goes a certain way, it may not be that way. When Kevin Durant went down with the injury in Washington, no one was necessarily talking about them being as dominant as they were right now. So you never know exactly what can transpire, even though a team has loaded talent quite like a Golden State team. You still have to compete, Greeny. And it's not about, teams, guys partnering up with other guys or anything like that. It's about your group, your organization, making sure you get back to the basics of basketball and winning championships, and that's defense.
Is it forcing people to do something they're not used to right now in the game?
It is now encouraging what used to be a big priority in the game. I remember Pat Riley, the first thing he talked about was the defensive aspect of the game. Greg Popovich, Larry Brown, Rick Pitino, everyone understands what wins championships. But because you've had such exceptional talent offensively, guys are doing things that guys weren't able to do 20 years ago. And so that's why you have the offensive onslaught. Now it's back to it's about getting back to the defensive principles of the game. No zones, just shade your guy this way, we'll send it to the help. No, now it's about having responsibility and guys guarding their guys and making it what it used to be as far as two great teams competing against one another, both of them defensively very well.
So what you see in this series as the difference primarily is Golden State's defense?
Well, not just Golden State's defense, the fact that Cleveland didn't bring the defense that I felt they could and they should. You can't run with Golden State. You can't play to their level. You can't do what they do. You have to have your own identity. And we've seen how the Cavaliers, during the course of the playoffs, how their defense, they got zoned in on defense, and that's what allowed them to have those huge victories in the first 2-3 series of the Eastern Conference. So, you get back to that, and that's what Golden State's doing. I mean, Kevin Durant is playing outstanding defense by what? It wasn't that he went to some guru. No, he's focused, and it's a responsibility for that ball club right now.
So what can Cleveland bottle in Game 4? Because I don't know if you can expect 54% from the three-point land, 53% from regular all-over shooting, Steph Curry to be off, Klay Thompson to not do what he did in Game 3. So what can carry over?
Well, the fact that they played a part in those two not playing well. It wasn't just that they were getting wide open shots and missing. And this is where I always talk about how guys have to participate in the process of what's going on. Yeah, you have to pay attention to detail. You have to make it tougher on them. Now, Kevin Durant is playing at another level right now. So you try to limit his effectiveness as much as you can. But those other guys that you were able to get into at different times, that's what you have to do. J.R. Smith, you talked about earlier, as far as him having a series now, he and Tristan Thompson were the missing pieces in Golden State as well as Game 3 for J.R. Smith. Right. So you get back to J.R., you got to attack Steph Curry when he's guarding you. When you don't allow, or I should say when you don't force Steph to necessarily play defense and he can roam, it's not beneficial for you. That's where I say you have to get back to the basics. It's not just about Kyrie, LeBron, and Kevin Love. It's about everyone being involved as well.
And how do we account for the Cavaliers' total inability to play if LeBron James is not on the floor? It is so stark how I don't even know what word to use.
Stark
wants to use the word incompetent, right? When he's not on the floor, they can't do anything. They can't make a stop. They look like they don't even know where they want to be standing defensively, and they cannot score.
It shows you the magnitude of what he is to the group. It shows you the magnitude of what he is wherever he's been. I think sometimes it gets misconstrued where no one's talking about how great LeBron James is as far as look at what the production is on the floor, how he gets other people's shot, his IQ, the defensive awareness, all those things, Greeny, all those things he has a big hand in. Usually, you have someone else on the floor that can, when he goes off, we can still continue on with our second unit, with our offensive sharing the basketball, things of that nature. Well, it's not that case. That's not the case with LeBron James and the Cleveland Cavaliers. But you have to find a way. And more than anything else, I think it's about slowing the game down even more in the half court when he's not on the floor. Get the ball from one side of the floor to the other because you don't have someone that can just dominate quite like LeBron James.
What did you think about the way the game went with the technicals and the Draymond Green didn't get two technicals and it got a little more chippy in this game?
Yeah, I think that's what you have to do. If it's almost like if you lose, I'm not going to let you grab me and I'm going to sit there like, oh, he hit me in the head. Oh, he hit me. I'm fighting. I may get a couple of good licks in and I'm going to say, I got in a couple of good licks even though I went down. Mm-hmm. That's what Cleveland's perspective was. They had to go down. If they were going to go down, you want to go down swinging. You don't want to kind of hope and, no, they got into it with them. They didn't say, you know what, they've been so good against us and we're going to let that go. No, they got into it. They brought the physicality to the game, and that's what they did last year. It just shouldn't take you this amount of time to bring the physicality to the game because you knew going in what they were about. You can't try to, play up to what others are saying as far as trying to run with them. No, you got to slow them down. Make them feel you, as Pat Riley would say, just a little, no.
Little, The problem with that is if you give them, it's not even an It's more of like an and you wind up getting a flagrant. The flagrant they called on Love was one of the most, if that's a flagrant foul, that's one of those where all the players in the 80s who make fun of the way the game is played today, they should go back and look at that play again. The fact that they called that a flagrant foul on Kevin Love, I thought was completely ridiculous.
That's one of those deals, I think, where it's trying to send a message. And
what is the message? We don't want you looking at each other out here the wrong way?
Don't look at them. You looked at them too hard, Greeny.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
That's what it is.
No, it's just like
Bruce, all kidding aside, you couldn't play like this. You couldn't play like this the way that they are making these guys try to play.
Well, you know what? The physicality, that's one thing. But when it gets chippy, that's where it gets to other places. And the officials, to their credit, and, I'm not the biggest, supporter of all the officials, but I understand what they're doing in that situation. They don't want a melee. They don't want this to become, someone getting ejected. And now we're talking talking about suspension because somebody went over the board or across the line. So it happens, but it had nothing to do with the deficit at that time. So you can't necessarily go to that and say, look at what's going on. It's a different day and age, and you can't continue to look back. You just look at it from the standpoint, okay, this is how we have to play, and that's that.
As far as what you're looking for in this game, to me, that third quarter has been amazing. The first two games, Golden State opened up double-digit leads by blowing out Cleveland in the third quarter. Cleveland wins the third quarter by 11 in Game 3, had the lead for 3 minutes ago, and then lose it. They win the quarter by a point on Friday and go on to win that game. That's an important quarter to me, the adjustments and everything they have. What do you look at? Where are your big points in this game?
My big points is, yes, the second half and how their defensive efficiency is as far as transition baskets. Even in the dagger there with Kevin Durant in Game 4, there's no way that LeBron James would drop behind the line if he's aware of that moment again. So now it's about bringing the awareness. You have to play perfect basketball, especially in the second half against the Golden State Warriors, because they are so efficient, because they have one of the most efficient players as far as Kevin Durant and his ability to not only create shots for himself but run a pick and roll at his size, post up anywhere on the floor. He is a weapon. He is a guy that you have to pay attention to. So for me, it's the third quarter, the second half is where I'm really concerned as I'm going into my coaches meeting. I'm saying, hey, we have to make sure that as soon as this takes place, if that means firing the guys up, making a substitution change just to shake things up, become more defensive early in that second half, I do that because right now you don't have any other options. It's win or go home.
Mike and Mike, Bruce Bowen's in our studio with the Straight Talk, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless, best phones, best networks, no contract. What is this day like? When you're at home, you wake up in your own bed, and all right, tonight I'm going to play for the championship of the world.
It's something you don't want to look ahead. You don't want to skip steps. I'll give you two scenarios. In Cleveland, Game 4, prior to Game 4, there's a moment where I kind of look at Tim, and Tim was looking off in the distance, and it's almost like I said, he's thinking of, if we possibly, but we wouldn't say it. And he looks at me and he's like, what were you doing? I said, what were you doing? Because you don't want to look ahead. We've been there before. So I'll go to 2005. We win Game 5 in Detroit. We're feeling good. We come back to the airport at 3 a.m. It's packed at our airport. I mean, I could barely get to my car and everybody's cheering and yeah. We still have 2 more games possibly on our home floor. So Game 6.
You lost Game 6 that year, right?
Let me tell the story.
Sorry.
Goodness.
Wow.
You see what I'm saying?
Good point.
So,
all right,
okay, there's the story.
Well,
we lost Game 6.
Move on, next question, go ahead.
All right.
But, we lose Game 6. So in Game 7, I remember walking with my Uncle Kevin around my neighborhood, and at night, just to kind of get a little anxiety out, I would walk a lot. And my biggest issue was like, I don't want to be home if we lose Game 7. Where everybody's going to have a question. At HEB, everyone's going to, Bruce, what happened? Why did you guys lose? Why didn't you give Timmy the ball more? It's like, I tried to. They stole it. But, those are the things that's going on in your head. But at the same time, you don't want to get that far. And you try to always bring it back to this moment now. So when you find yourself wandering a little bit, you come back. You just go over certain things as how you have to play the game plan. And don't put too much pressure on yourself. But at the same time, go out there and have fun.
Why did you make the San Antonio Spurs fan sound like that?
Yeah.
Well, it was an old lady at the grocery store I used to always see. And she would always, Bruce, you need to do it better. You're not hustling. Get some more eggs. It's protein in those.
Okay, well, there you go. I'm glad there was a backstory to that. How about the other side of it now? How about Cleveland? Cleveland gets that win. Now they got the long flight to go take us through what they're going.
Yeah, they are. It's different for them. I remember in Miami, we played Charlotte. They had just had the trade with Jamal Mashburn and P.J. Brown, and they were going at us. And so we're on their home floor, and you just try to conjure up some type of energy so you can get a little momentum. But when that other team's on their home floor and they get their fans behind them, they make a couple of shots. Pat Riley called a timeout, and he's talking to us. He said, hey, you got to do this. Come on, guys, remember this, remember that. But at the same time, you get back on the floor, you feel the change in momentum. You feel the shift. And it's almost nothing you can do because the home team feeds off of that energy. And it doesn't even mean about a made shot. It could be keeping the ball alive and getting a rebound and kicking it out to someone so they have another possession. So So it's one of those deals where you have to be fully aware of what's going on and how you cannot make mistakes on the road, especially during the course of a run, because every team in the game, they're going to make a run. It's just how you sustain that run as to how you're going to be.
Mike and Mike presented by Progressive Insurance. P.J. Carlesimo talking more hoops with us.
P.J.
later in this hour on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. And we are brought to you in part by Dollar Shave Club. Upgrade to shaving with a fresh blade whenever you want for a fraction of the price. Join DollarShaveClub.com today. Next order of business here, Brucey.
Uh-oh.
You obviously in your life, as you were a basketball player all your life, played a lot of 3-on-3, right? So is that a yes or a no?
I didn't say anything.
Okay, well, you smiled at me.
No, I didn't smile. It was a smirk. It's not a smile. It's a smirk.
I didn't know how to interpret that smirk.
Okay, keep going with the question.
The question is, what are the keys?
And you guys are golfing buddies?
In 3-on-3. Yeah, you should see us then.
We're brothers.
What are the keys in that? Because, like, they asked LeBron James who his dream 3-on-3 team would be, and he chose Magic Johnson and Michael Jordan. And we were sitting here talking about it, Mike and I, during a break. And the easy answer is, who would you pick? Okay, yeah, I'll take LeBron, Kevin Durant, and Kawhi. And I'm assuming, all right, no one beats that. But is there something we're missing? Do you need an outside? No, I guess Kevin Durant is that.
Mm-hmm. But like, Kevin Durant is everything.
Right. Yeah, okay, fair enough.
Give him the ball.
But like, do you need a big guy? Do you need do you have Steph Curry? What is the key to a 3-on-3?
3-on-3. Now, first of all, it's half court.
Right.
It's not full court.
Right.
It's half court.
It's the only way I like to play ball.
But in this, you want someone that's mobile. You want guys that can create shots. You want guys that can knock down shots. So, as you were saying that, I'm thinking, Steph Curry, Reggie Miller, and Allen Houston. I think that would be a fantastic 3-on-3.
All three of them. Like, I was thinking maybe you need one guy like that. No, you want three guys like that.
Why not? You're going to space the floor. It's not. You can't. It's not a certain It's not defensive situations. It's basically one-on-one basketball with a lot of space. And if someone helps, you give it to the open guy.
So while I don't want NBA players playing in this, I'd rather it not be. What three would you take today from the NBA and make your 3-on-3 team?
From the NBA today, obviously you want LeBron James.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin Durant, and then Kawhi.
That would be it.
That would be that.
But that isn't this. But
he just asked me something.
No, but
I can't answer his question.
That you need. You're looking at guys who are outside shooters. Durant is really the only guy. I mean, LeBron can shoot it. Kawhi can shoot it.
Listen to what. Let me talk.
Are you going to let him talk?
I'm not going to let him talk. Okay. I'm going to go get him right now.
Let me hear it.
So LeBron, who's going to guard him? You saw the way he was moving. Iguodala looked like he was on skates.
Yeah,
just
right
because of his strength. He can get a shot anywhere he wants. He's going to get where he wants. So that's why he's the brute force of the group. And the other guys, KD, you know what he can do. And Kawhi, he's just going to be quiet out there, just giving you 30 and 15.
What are you going to do? So you're a lockdown defender. You are, all kidding aside, as good a defensive player as there was in the league in your day. And he would have, what are you, 6'8"?
No, I'm not 6'7". I'm
6'7". Okay, that's close. Durant has still got 4 inches on you, 5 inches. What are you doing with him?
If he goes to the block, I'm gonna front him. And this is where the team concept has to come into play. So I'm going to front him, get in front of him, and I'm yelling front, so that let my other defender know to pressure the passer, not play off the passer where the passer just throw a little lob to him. So now you create diversion. So now if he's on the wing, I'm getting up into him. I'm taking away his airspace because one of the things that great scorers don't like is guys crowding them. When you give them room, as you saw the space between Kevin Durant and LeBron James when he makes a three-point shot, They love that because it gives them a freedom of movement. It's just kind of like when you, as you were showing us earlier, that swing of yours, that nice little fluid swing. But if you're near a tree, first thing you're like, I can't. It creates some type of block for you. So that's kind of what it is. And when he doesn't have the ball, I'm denying him the basketball because I know that he can't score without the ball.
All right, one other thing I want to ask you is Darren Ravel said that 2 floor seats tonight are going for $90,000. Someone paid $90,000 for 2 floor seats. Mm-hmm. Is there any event that you would spend $90,000 to go see?
Absolutely.
What?
Well, you said any event, it would be a concert for me.
Yeah. What would it be?
It would be some past artists.
Let me hear.
So I already saw him. I was going to say Prince, but I saw Prince, tremendous.
Right.
And I would do it for James Brown, man. I mean, the greatest entertainer, they say. I never saw him live in his prime, but I can just imagine. He had Bootsy Collins on the bass. That's some of the things people don't know. So I'm like, his band, it was a show. I would love to be able to have been able to see something quite like that. Now, you got to realize this too. That $90,000 is nothing but a drop in the bucket for somebody.
Exactly.
Those are, we're not talking about millionaires. We're talking about those billionaires.
Right.
Which is just like, give me 4 of them.
Yeah.
If you could afford $90,000 for floor seats, then obviously you've got an enormous amount of money.
Exactly.
But it does beg the question: if we were to somehow be able to poll all the people out there in America, would more of them be willing to spend that kind of money, do you think, on a sporting event, on a potential closeout game tonight, or on a concert?
I think athletes would choose concerts, and the general population would probably choose sporting events. Because every athlete wanted to be an entertainer, and every entertainer wanted to be an athlete.
How many failed rappers are athletes? My name is Bruce. I got some juice. Ha 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 ha. Yeah, they're like, that's not even going to go wood,
right?
Let alone platinum.
It's a good question. Because if you can go back historically and see like any concert or any...
What would you...
Well, I mean, if you're giving me history, I would go back and see some of the great artists of all time sort of in their prime. I would go see... I can't even fathom what it would be like to see someone like Bob Marley at his absolute apex when he was at his best. Could you go see the Beatles live? Again, going back historically.
You can do whatever you want.
I think Greenie would have screamed at the Beatles and passed out.
Well, the first two things Bomani and Greenie had brought up. Bomani brought up Bob Marley and Greenie brought up Woodstock. I said the next day you're not remembering anything.
Look at Woodstock. You want to run around naked, huh?
Spend $90,000 and don't remember what the day was like.
I also thought about Pavarotti. I had the chance of seeing Pavarotti in Miami, and I had never been to the opera, never heard it before. I was amazed at when he opened his mouth and the force. He was singing another language, but I felt a tear running down my eye and I look around and everybody else is that way as well. I just wasn't dressed for the affair. I thought I was dressed well, but everyone had on tuxedos. I'm like, what is this prom? Did I miss
That's why I will never be at an opera.
That's not why.
I'm going to take you to
an opera. That's not why.
I'm going to take you to an opera, and you're going to like it.
It better be one that I can dress down in
this day and age.
You know what? Why is it? No, don't dress that. Dress up sometime.
If I can't go to the opera like this, I'm not going.
They don't dress that way anymore. To my father's dismay, they don't. My dad, he bemoaned the fact that people stopped that. My dad wore a suit to the opera every single time we went when I was a kid.
Because it was an elegant
Now they
event.
don't. Yeah, they don't anymore. People go to the opera in jeans and stuff. A lot of the old school people hate
one
it.
opera in my life.
They do.
Never.
You would go. I'd take you. I'm going to take you.
Yeah, take it.
I don't even understand it.
They have subtitles now.
Feeling. You will feel it.
And they put subtitles. They're at the Metropolitan Opera in New York, the most famous opera
that's what I'm going to go do. I'm going to go somewhere to read
subtitles.
And I guarantee the concessions aren't worth it.
There's a lot of alcohol.
They're a little different than what you're expecting.
Hammered.
Bruce Bowen, you're the best. Thank you, Brucey. Always a pleasure.
Greenie, you know how to win at business?
Tell me how.
Show up early for meetings. That way everybody who's only on time looks like slackers.
Well, I got a better way to win at business.
What's that?
Instant free nights at La Quinta Inns and Suites. You can show up with no advance reservation and redeem your La Quinta Returns loyalty points for a free night that same night just by using the La Quinta app.
I feel like I'd win at business more than you.
I'd cream you at business.
Impossible. I'm undefeated at business.
Go to LQ.com now and prepare to win at business.
Hey everyone, Mike Golic here. Support for the Mike and Mike podcast comes from our friends at Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Chances are you're confident when it comes to your work, your hobbies, your life. Rocket Mortgage gives you that same level of confidence when it comes to buying a home or refinancing your existing home loan. Rocket Mortgage is simple, allowing you to fully understand all the details and be confident you're getting the right mortgage for you. To get started, go to rocketmortgage.com/Mikes. Equal housing lender, licensed in all 50 states, NMLS, consumeraccess.org number 3030.
Quickly, before I get PJ in here, I want to just clear up a stat we had earlier. And Hembo did send it to me this way, but on my computer, it cut off the bottom of the note. So I didn't see it, but a lot of people have been tweeting it in. We told you earlier, Sidney Crosby is one of 3 active players in any major sport, drafted first overall to win 3 championships, joining Patrick Kane and LeBron James.
Right.
A lot of people pointed out, Mike, there is sort of one more.
Yeah, Marc-Andre Fleury, the goaltender for the Pittsburgh Penguins, he was that while Crosby was the number 1 pick in 2005, Fleury was the number 1 pick in 2003. He's been part of the Penguins' 3 titles, but didn't play in each of the last 2 Stanley Cup Final Series. So while he didn't play, he was on the team. He was a former number 1 pick. He is an active player. So that would be a note for that stat.
I'd like to blame Hembo, but it was actually in the note. But if I may, he put a couple of spaces in between the 2, and exactly where those spaces went is where it cut off on my screen. Yeah. So I didn't see it. So I'm going to blame Hembo anyway.
Let's do it. Yeah, absolutely.
That's just me. All right, Mike, is PJ ready to go? Let's go live to PJ Carlesimo, who is getting ready as tonight. We could see an NBA champion crowned at home. Golden State will try and close out the NBA Finals in Game 5 against the Cavaliers. Good morning, PJ.
Good morning, gentlemen. How you guys doing?
Doing well.
Well, we're doing great. Let's start by asking what this almost seems like a ridiculous question, but of all the things that Cleveland did so well offensively on Friday, how many of them are repeatable, which is to say they just hit a lot of tough-looking shots? Is that the kind of thing that carries over to another game? Is there anything they did offensively Friday night that you say, okay, we use that and we build on it going forward tonight on the road?
Well, the scary part is the shooting, because, I mean, that more than anything has been a real challenge for them because, they shot ridiculously well. The first quarter was historic, clearly. But when the game's all over, they shoot 53% really from both, from the field and from the three-point line. I don't know if they can shoot 53% from the three-point line again, but to me it was more about individuals. This team, the big 3 have been there essentially. LeBron's been there all the time. I'd say Kyrie and Kevin both had 2 excellent games of the games played so far. That's a given. I think the big 3 is going to play. The other guys were MIA. That's Tristan's first good game. You would say Tristan's got to get double-digit rebounds, and the thing that kind of got lost in the shuffle, his offensive rebounds, he got 4 of them, but he got 5 assists, 4 for three-point shots. Tristan Thompson was really a factor in the game. JR's had 2 good games in a row. I think that's doable. I think he can play again. But their supporting cast has been what's hurt them. They just haven't had enough guys play well. A whole number of people stepped up and played well. Richard Jefferson was excellent. I thought Shump defended well. Darren Williams had his best game. So to me, that's what it's going to take. The big 3 have to play not good. They have to play super. I think that's possible. But are all these other guys going to show up, and can they shoot it from downtown that well again? Because that's what's impacted their defense. The first 3 games, when they didn't shoot it well, Golden State was just running down their throats, virtually every possession. So this game, they were able to get their defense set up a little bit, and they were able to defend and make Golden State run half-court offense.
So of guys that played meaningful, before we got to the last couple of minutes of that game and of the blowout game for the Cleveland win, guys coming off the bench, I want to stay there to the quote-unquote role players, not so much Tristan or JR on the start lineup, but Richard Jefferson, Shumpert, Williams, Korver, those guys. In Game 4, they were 6 of 10. They were 3 of 8, I believe, or 3 of 7 from the three-point line. So they did well. And all we hear is role players play better at home. Is that true? I mean, I just hear that line kind of thrown out there. This is going to be back on the road.
I think it's true to an extent, Mike, but it's too big a generalization. It was interesting, though, to hear Bruce talk about it, because Bruce talked about how difficult it was. I think he was talking about playing in Charlotte and Riles having to call timeouts and try and settle him down. I mean, clearly it's more apt for LeBron and Kevin and Kyrie to have bigger games on the road. I mean, that's why they get paid what they get paid. If they're going to play at home, they're going to play on the road, and they're going to play at a real high level on a consistent basis. But I think it's hard, particularly Cleveland. I mean, the guys you mentioned, you got veteran guys there. You got guys that have won rings already or been in finals or been in all-star games. I think it's more an advantage for the home team than it is a disadvantage for the visitor. I really do. I just think that the crowd helps the home team a little bit more. You're just more comfortable playing at home. I don't know, Michael, if you agreed it was that way in football, but I don't think it's as much a negative for the opponent, the road team. I just think it's a plus for the home team.
Yeah, it's definitely different in football. I don't believe you have that same effect on the road where the crowd getting involved and the role players, of which I was one, play really any differently on the road.
Yeah, it's interesting. Football home field advantage, I guess there's a variety of factors, and it's a one-game-in-a-week situation, the travel, and it's hard to explain why there would be that much.
Domes and weather, too. I mean, I guess it's an advantage if you're not used to playing in, Green Bay or something like that. But it's still the guys in the uniforms. And people, used to say that and say the building. I mean, I coached in Oracle. It wasn't called Oracle then. People weren't worried about coming into Oracle then. And the fans were great. We had great fans then, but we were a lousy team. So it's the guys in the uniforms. The guys in the white uniforms are the problem. The fans help. I thought the other night was a perfect example because the atmosphere in the queue before Game 4 was nothing like it was in Game 3. Nothing. It was a morgue until the team came out on the floor and the team played unbelievably well. I thought it was a clear example. They said the right thing after the game, our home fans, blah, blah, blah. The team got the crowd into the game in Game 4. It really was. The atmosphere before Game 3 was incredible. Before Game 4, it wasn't there until the team came out and started playing the way they played. They got the crowd into the game.
Mike and PJ on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Get instant gold status at Shell. Join the Fuel Rewards program now at fuelrewards.com/gold. These teams have played 4 games over the course of the last week and change. They've played in the finals 3 consecutive years. So I think I already know the answer to this question, but are there any adjustments left to be made? Is there anything either coach can do that is going to be different or a surprise or unusual at this stage of where these two teams are?
I don't see them changing their lineups. I just don't think there's a lot of moves to be made. There'll be, during the game there'll be substitutes, or somebody gets going. You suspect LeBron or KD, you can all of a sudden decide to double them. Cleveland would love to get the ball out of Kevin's hands and Steph's hands, and Golden State would certainly love to get it out of LeBron and Kyrie's. But easier said than done. When the other people step up and particularly are making threes, the three-point shot is so important to this series. I think people think of Golden State as a three-point shooting team. They don't know the magnitude, how many threes Cleveland took and made all year and how good they've been in the playoffs from the three-point line. Now, they struggled the first 3, so the three-point shot's going to really be important. And, again, Golden State is better defensively defending the 3. So I think that's going to be big. But I really think it's going to be about individuals. Who's going to step up? And I'm really going to be intrigued if Cleveland can hang in, just be there going into the fourth quarter, because I think the deeper you get into the game, the more the potential for Golden State to all of a sudden start going, oh, no. The pressure will mount as the game goes on, if it's close or if Cleveland's playing from ahead.
It's an interesting thought. Home teams, by the way, are 102 games over 500 in NBA Finals history, for whatever it's worth. And you're talking about some of the most dominant teams of all time winning championships. They're 256 and 154 overall home court in the finals. Enjoy it tonight, PJ. Maybe we'll get some more basketball to talk. We'll see you soon.
Thanks, PJ.
All right. Greetings. See you, Mike.
PJ Carlesimo with us. I don't know. I'm trying to find ways to convince myself that Cleveland can do this tonight. And if they do, if this is a close game with 4 minutes left, which I hate to say I don't expect it to be, but if it is, then I do think a lot of pressure goes on those guys. I mean, Durant doesn't have a championship. Curry hasn't played big in big moments in the past. There'll start to be a little bit of an edge in that building.
But there'll also be some pressure on Cleveland because they were up with 3 minutes to go in Game 3 and couldn't score a point.
Yeah.
So if it's close and or they're winning at that point, which could be tough as well, let's hope they don't have any deja vu.
I hope I'm totally wrong. I think the Warriors are going to blow them out tonight. I really hope I'm wrong.
Okay, Kevin, for the grand prize of $1 million, what color is the White House?
I know this.
5 seconds.
Oh, switching to Geico could save you a bunch of money on car insurance?
Okay. Judges? That's true, Kevin. They'll allow it. Congratulations. You're a winner.
Woo!
Geico, because saving 15% or more on car insurance is always a great answer.
This is what I was remembering. Paul Westphal won the horse competition in 1978 But they did it again as recently as 8-9 years ago, and Durant won it back-to-back years. They did it in 2009 and in 10, and Kevin Durant won it both times. Both times, of course, as a member of the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Right.
And for the life of me, I don't remember that happening.
I don't either.
I don't know.
I don't remember it at all.
But I don't remember that.
Wait, where are they saying this happened?
Was this at the All-Star game? I assume. Yeah, it was part of the All-Star festivities.
I don't remember this at all.
I don't either.
We were
I don't
doing
know why
the show then. I have no recollection of that.
I don't know why I don't either. But
wow,
for one way or another, that was sort of a fun thing to do, and so people are talking about 3-on-3, and maybe they will do it again. All right, Golic, a lot of people want to hear your response to Draymond Green criticizing the intelligence quotient, if you will, of your beloved hometown of Cleveland, Ohio.
Well, I mean, he gave a reason for why. He said they weren't the sharpest fans around, and he did give a reason for it. When he first said it, I thought, why is he saying that? You know, in what context is he just ripping the fans overall? But he's not. He had a reason for saying what he said.
I didn't bash them. I just gave my thoughts.
Well, saying they're not sharp is bashing them.
Well, they booed me, and you know, they thought I had a tech I didn't have, so that wasn't sharp.
It was on the box, Jim. Everybody thought you had that tech.
I knew I didn't, so maybe I'm just a little sharper than others then, huh? I don't know. But they played hit the road, Jack, and I didn't have to hit the road, so I didn't think that was that sharp. But maybe you thought that was sharp.
Well, I was looking at the box score.
I was looking at reality, and I knew I wasn't ejected, so.
Well, he was one of the few, because everybody thought he got a second technical, correct?
Yes,
I mean,
Mike Green was freaking out, and so was I, and so was everybody.
Again,
and it would have been a terrible technical.
Yeah,
but
listen, I agree, but we thought it was a second technical, and you get ejected. So you play hit the road, Jack, you know, and everybody's having a ball with it, only to find out that the first technical was on Steve Kerr. And then
what did you think of that whole thing?
Oh, I thought it was ridiculous. And then so to go to the point of Draymond saying, I knew it wasn't on me, so maybe they're not the sharp. Here's my thought on that. I could give a rat's behind what Draymond Green has to say about Cleveland fans. I can give a rat's behind at basically about anything he's going to say. But I love when he says stuff to talk about it. But when he's talking about a whole group, who cares? Who cares what he has to say about that? He is while he's great for talk shows, he has this year learned to love to hear his voice. And listen, it takes nothing away from his play. He is a great player. But he's a guy who has grown this year to love hearing himself talk. And when you're like that, you will get a microphone put in front of your face all the time. And the more he hears himself talk, I think the more he likes hearing himself talk and the more things he's going to say. And I could care less what he said about the Cleveland fans at all. And hopefully it gets back to Cleveland. They'll have their fun with him again, and he'll probably have his fun at their expense. So what? And no harm, no foul. I'm not worrying about it.
I'm not worrying about that either.
No.
And yet, playing the hit the road jack, I mean, the public address announcer announced that's the second technical foul on Draymond Green, and everyone in the world thought that it was. What do we think actually happened there? Do we think the referees realized, oh my God, we just threw Draymond Green out of this game and went over and said, no, the first one was actually supposed to be on Kerr? Or was that truly a miscommunication?
Isn't it written down anywhere? Isn't it documented somewhere?
Everywhere.
That first
it was documented everywhere. It was on all the official scorer sheets. Everyone had it listed as Draymond Green having had that first technical. Now, when you go back and watch it, Kerr does come racing over.
The court. Yeah, he does.
It is legit.
Yeah.
But it 100% documented. You know, it really leads you to believe that the referees saw it. And I saw a lot of people tweeting, and I think I agree. At that point, just say, you know what? We shouldn't have called this one. It wasn't compared to what Draymond Green does, the histrionics of Draymond Green on every single call.
Completely agree.
The one that they actually gave him what was theoretically his second technical foul on was nothing.
But you know what? He made his own bed, as far as that's concerned.
But if you're going to throw him out, then you have to throw him out.
I don't know what went on there. I
don't either.
Everybody in the world thought that he got that first one and not.
That was a bad look. That did not look good. And frankly, I thought and this wasn't what decided the game in any way, but I thought that top to bottom, the officiating in that game was terrible. And some of the stuff that they call a flagrant now, and then the other play on Draymond, they didn't even look at the monitor to see if it might have been a flagrant, was ridiculous.